Okay, video 1 in the series of gut microbiome being brilliant to the basics. Video 1 I'm going to do an overview of digestion. I'm really going to look at this from the way I've started looking at it since I've started researching it, the simple things I've learned and what I think is quite important. Particularly we look at domestication of our horses and some of the gut issues we see, and also I've been reading hundreds of papers across species and also in the equine microbiome space and where the future might be going and some ideas and observations I've made. We know that the equine digestive system is a complex ecosystem. So this is the head and this is the tail. We know that there's certain components of the gut that I'll talk about in a bit of detail as we go on through the talk as well. But primarily what the equine digestive system is there to digest fibre and complex plant materials and turn them into energy, particularly in the hind gut. When you look at the volume of the equine gut, it can be 180 to 240 litres. Now, when I was looking at the equine digestive system first, there was a lot of focus here in the stomach. We know we have teeth and mastication. That's a very important part of plant material breakdown and chewing. And if horses are losing weight, people will often look in the mouth. We have the esophagus, the choke is something we see there. But the stomach makes up 10% of the overall volume of the digestive tract. And I think that's interesting when we look at the focus, and a lot of research papers are really focused on the foregut. Then we have the small intestine, which can be about 22 to 24 meters long, depending on the horse. And that's where we have a lot of enzyme production and the utilization of energy and protein, primary digestion. And then this is a really interesting area when we get back here to the hindgut. 60% of the overall volume is in the hindgut. So this can be the cecum, the small colon, the large colon, and eventually the rectum here. Why this is important is that almost 50% of the horse's energy in the production of volatile fatty acids comes from the hindgut. And without the gut microbiome, this complex ecosystem of trillions and trillions of bacteria here digesting fibre and converting them into volatile fatty acids, well, this is a key driver of equine digestion. So if we have a poorly functioning hindgut here, an unhappy hindgut, what we'll talk about later on, well, then it can have a massive impact on digestion. The other thing when we look at the gut microbiome, there's different beneficial microbes right throughout the digestive tract with a function. If we have a disrupted hindgut, well, it may affect the foregut, and equally if we have a foregut problem, it may affect hindgut digestion. There's different pHs in the digestive tract. So for overall health, we want to ensure good digestion. And again, if we look at being brilliant at the basics, we know that our horses are grazing animals traditionally. And through domestication, if I could spell, there's different things that has happened that has changed the microbiome as we talk about in later video series. But ultimately, for horses, we want to make sure we maximize grazing. Quality forage is really important. Okay, so quality forage is really important, particularly when we look at hindgut digestion. We also want to make sure when we are feeding grain, which is an important part of maybe competition horses' diet from an energy perspective, that we don't overload feed. Horses are habitually, they take small meals frequently. So if we think about how a horse is biologically and behaviorally made up, if we change that and we overload grain, well, we can have a lot of problems in the foregut, but also we can reduce pH in the hindgut. The other thing that's really important, that's often overlooked, and I will talk about a lot of other animal species and human research that I've been reading, is water. Available clean water. So depending on the age, size and breed of horse, they can drink up to 20 to 40 litres of water a day. And if we think about fermentation and the fermentation that occurs in the hindgut, clean available water is an important component of that fermentation vat, if you like. So we have all these beneficial microbes breaking down fibre and forages to produce 50% of energy in the form of volatile fatty acids. So clean available water is really important. Also, if we think about pathogens like E. coli and their impact on the digestive system of our horse, we don't want contaminants. So fresh, clean available water is a really important thing. And again, feeding is a very specific thing. You may talk to your vet or your equine nutritionist about, but it's appropriate for the age, the breed and the activity level of our horse. This video series is brought to you by Precision Microbes, and if you go to our website, you'll hear about people talking about our equine complementary feed and how how beneficial it's been for their horses. The hashtag for this video series is Just Try It. This is a simple video just outlining, I suppose maybe the focus is going to be here in the hindgut. A lot of focus has been over the years in the foregut, but this massive digestive system, our fermentation vat in our herbivores, in our horses, is really important to understand, particularly where we see things going wrong. So hope you enjoyed the video series, and see you in video 2.
we do have on it. So it's definitely a game changer for me with the volume of horses. There's always a lot of horses that have issues and that don't just consume their feed properly and get the quality out of it. So Precision Microbes is definitely a game changer for a good lot of my horses, and I'm very, very happy with the product.